So getting back down to brass tacks here, tying this thing down to the mundane, to the daily life, to the workaday level, because if interiorism is anything, it's practical. If it's not eminently practical, well, then it has no use to us. Eckhart Tolle always said that if going deeply into the present moment, which is basically the essence of interiorism, if it doesn't make you more sharp, more focused, if it makes you drunk or intoxicated, then there's no need for it. Then you can just go drink alcohol, you can snort cocaine or take the numerous other drugs, you can smoke marijuana. That's not going to make you more sharp and effective, at least for most people. But interiorism is eminently practical. And I just want to show you one way in which it's practical. You see, obviously, we're dealing with a world of physics. We're, of course, under the laws of physics, under the laws of chemistry. But as we can see in every system is at root driven by a system a level above it. And I hope you understand what I mean a little bit, and I'm going to explain it. So, things happen in the world to obviously bring about a reaction. So, for example, if you want to build a house, you have to get people and machines together. You have to get the materials, and so on and so forth. So, if you were just looking at it on a worldly level, then think about it. You'd have to actually go get all of the materials, first of all, to build the house. So one way of doing this would be to actually go yourself and, cut down the trees to get the wood, create the cement yourself and so on, and do it all yourself. A deeper level would be to try to convince people to cooperate with you in that. That's a higher level. So when you see people getting together in materials, and of course a higher level is actually procuring the materials from another person who already has them, so you don't have to spend all that extra time getting the materials. So you see that's a level deeper, because you could physically extract all those materials, and let's forget about getting the tools to extract the materials. We're now going into basic economics here, like the example of the island and so on, where this person's living on an island and he has to gather berries. You can very simply see that a level above gathering the materials involves psychological and mental and verbal communication. You have to think of a plan. And guys, when you're thinking of a plan, you're already outside of the 3D, because that plan, let's say you're planning on building a house, and you're planning on getting the resources together by procuring them, and you're planning on getting a team together. That very act of planning is not present. It's not present in this present moment. It's in your mind. So that's something above the 3D. And Plato talked about these levels of spirituality, where as you get further down into the physical, that's very dense. As you get further up, it's more free, it's more clear. And I think that's precisely where interiorism shows its eminent practicability, because it works on the ultimate level. It penetrates all of those spiritual levels, and it goes up to the level of oneness. It goes up to the level that sees that there's actually no separation, that everything is one. And so from that oneness, you can very easily extract everything else you need. I hope you understand me just a little bit. So interiorism doesn't say don't work, but it lets you go, so to speak, to a much more practical impetus for that work. Let me explain a little bit what I mean by that. First of all, if any of you think you know what you should do to bring about a certain outcome, you're out of your mind. We're living in this tiny planet spinning in a galaxy that, as Michael Singer says, is basically in the middle of nowhere. How do you know, first of all, what's happening outside this galaxy? How do you know that you would be able to continue alive for another second in a galaxy that is a part of a system that's so much further above us and further above the ability of our instruments to penetrate and understand, that we couldn't have a theory of causation. In order to have a theory of causation of what causes effects, we have to reduce it a lot, and we have to assume a lot. We're making a lot of assumptions, guys. We're assuming that we know how to extract science in the next steps. Now, it serves us a lot, but it doesn't serve us a lot. And for things that are very easy, like getting to, the Chili's across the street and having dinner, that's more or less easy, and you can more or less predict that. But if it's something like building a business, you really don't know how the plan's going to pan out. You can make a plan, but there's no way you're going to know the next step. What interiorism does is it goes back to that oneness. And you get into that oneness by penetrating the mind, by going above the mind, by realizing that the mind is only a small part of this huge inventory of resources that you have, by recognizing yourself as the oneness, by recognizing who you are, which is the divine, because we're all one with the divine. And then, in that knowing, you surrender the intellectual mind, and then you allow everything to unfold. And how is that indicated to you? Well, it's going to be indicated to you by your excitement, what you feel drawn to do. And as we say in many videos, a lot of times this will seemingly have nothing to do with the goal that you're trying to pursue. So let's say you're trying to start a business, but you have no idea how. Let's say you want to start an investment bank, right? Well, the amount of resources you have to marshal, the amount of people that you have to meet, it's enough as so much as to stagger the imagination. So there are two main ways of going about this. The first way is to go and try to bang it out. And people can do that. And again, it's mostly drug-induced. It could be Adderall-induced. People have to take drugs, and they can do that, and some people are successful. But then you're in the world of probability. Well, there's a probability that may or may not happen. And some people are luckier, and some people are just harder working. But all that's on the world of the physical. What if you could go beyond the physical again and tap into that infinite mind? And then that mind that knows the whole schema, knows how everything works, will then feed you the information that you can handle, that you need in the moment. It'll come to you by inspiration. So you want to build this investment bank. You may be inspired the first day to go to a Starbucks and drink coffee. Do that. And then, of course, you know how it can unfold. You'll meet someone at the Starbucks, then they'll get you hooked up with someone. But the importance is not being attached to the outcome. And that's the second way. So the point is, even in this physical world, let's lay interiorism aside. You don't believe anything that interiorism teaches. You don't think that it's spiritual. You think it's all material. Fine. You think it's all luck. Fine. But no one can debate that someone who works, someone who takes the shot, has a better chance of making that shot than someone who does nothing right, or someone who's paralyzed by confusion or fear. But if you can just silence your mind, if you can just accept the propositions of interiorism, that when you desire something and then you put yourself in that state, you have it already, and that the path is going to unfold for you without you doing anything, then guess what? Your mind is going to be clear, and then you're going to be more able to take the actions as they come. So you will take action. You'll make that phone call. You'll try things. You'll experiment. Sometimes they'll fail. But when they fail, you will not be unduly discouraged and then give up. You see? So from the point of view of just common workaday psychology, interiorism is completely and eminently practical. Why? Because whether you accept the assumptions or not, as we said, if you get into that state of mind, that will in itself create positivity. And then if you take it down a notch and you believe in the law of attraction, well, you're going to be vibrating better and you're going to be attracting more to yourself. If you don't believe in the law of attraction, you just believe in physical cause and effect, which it's ridiculous to do that, because we've just shown by the simple elucidation of what I talked about planning, that's already above the physical. But if you just believe in that, then you know that at least you'll be putting yourself out there to have a better probability of walking towards what you want. And then, shoot for the moon and you might get the stars, so to speak. So at least you'll get something. So either way, it's like Voltaire said, if God did not exist, it would be necessary to invent him. If interiorism did not exist, if it wasn't true, it would be necessary to talk ourselves into buying it, or at least suspending judgment on it, so that then we can put ourselves out there for a better probability of winning. So that's how, guys, interiorism, no matter what you believe, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe in the combustible engine to drive a car. You don't even have to know about it. You just have to turn the key. Turn this key that we're giving you, and the key is very simple. You get very clear about what you want. You get as detailed as you can. Then you just put yourself in that state. You practice that state. Then you let it go. Then you follow your highest excitement. And for a lot of you, you're going to have so many negative emotions in there that your highest excitement is going to have a harder time showing itself to you. You don't have to do anything, but it will behoove you to release those emotions by surrendering. So what you can do is, because interiorism teaches and states that you are the divine, therefore any means can attain any ends for the divine. You get it? There's no scarcity for the divine. So even a magician would say that you can take a stick and you can cause a rock to move, when that would not be commonly done in cause and effect. Well, if you're the divine, you can use anything to make anything happen. So, whatever happens to you, let's say something bad happens to you that day, you can just go into your mind and reinterpret that and say, you know what? This is actually a sign on my path. There's nothing stopping you from going into your mind, into your interior kingdom, so to speak, and reinterpreting events, saying it's on my path. And then you just surrender to it. And so as you go throughout the day, things will come up that will trigger emotions and energy that are stored inside your body. So then you just surrender and you release that. So you see the emotion. Let's say an emotion of fear comes up. You ask yourself, okay, fear, where are you in my body? And you just feel that. And then you say, like the Sedona method teaches you to do, you just say, okay, can I just allow this to be here? You just allow it to be. You don't try to push it away. You don't deny it. You don't say, I'm not feeling fear. You don't tell yourself it's going to get better. No, you just look at it with your witnessing consciousness. Then ask yourself, could I let this go? Would I? When? And you just allow that to naturally flow out of you. You do that for enough days, guys, and your system is going to get clear enough to where now you can start actually feeling your highest excitement. Then you just follow that highest excitement. It could be an impulse. It could be an intuition. And I promise you that is going to take you true north to where you need to be, to where you want to be, through the path of least resistance. That's how interiorism works, guys. And again, let's say this is not true, which it's demonstrably true, and I have several experiments I'm going to be showing you in the coming weeks. But let's say it's not true. You're still going to be more positive, and all psychology says that a positive thinking mind is going to be more productive than a negative thinking mind or a depressed mind. So take all of these things into account, guys. If you don't believe interiorism, give it a try, give it a test, experiment with it. And I promise you, you're going to see your life improve within days, guys. You're going to be feeling better. And not only that, you're going to see that you can attain things that you want without lifting a finger. Of course, you'll be doing things, but they'll all be inspired and they'll all be your highest excitement. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want to see weekly videos on interiorism, if you want to hear more, you can follow my channel, subscribe to the channel, like the videos. We now have hundreds of videos on interiorism going back over 2 years. You can watch them. I talk about almost every aspect of it, and we're going to be releasing weekly videos, as we said, on it. If you'd like to go deeper, if you'd like to have a coaching session with me, I will put my email in the description, and we will talk, and we will have more progress in weeks than many people do in months. So until very soon, guys, this is Javier with the Real Javier Novo, wishing you a great day.